Hey there everybody, today I'm going to share with you how I figured out why my son Shane was hitting so much when he was younger. It's very common in the autism community for children with autism to show their emotions through aggression. The question I kept asking myself was, why? I quickly realized that one of the main reasons Shane was hitting was because he didn't understand everything that was happening around him. Autism is not visible all the time. So often children, teachers, even myself, I've been guilty of this. I would assume or think that, Shane understood something and he didn't. His teachers did the same, and often kids around him were doing that. When he would continually not understand and people weren't aware that he wasn't understanding, he would act out and he would hit. You have to make sure that your child is understanding what is happening around them. Otherwise, they are going to display that frustration in one way or another. And often cases, it's through hitting. Ask your child if they're understanding. Take the time to make eye contact with them. Take the time to ask them to repeat what you've actually asked them to do. Never assume that your child understands exactly what is happening, and don't let the other people around them assume the same. Communication is difficult for many autistic children. So when a child is not able to communicate their needs and their wants through words, they are going to find a way to communicate that. And again, often that will be through aggression and hitting other children, maybe even you or a teacher. And when I realized very quickly that Shane wanted things, and when he wasn't able to get them, especially with his friends, he would be aggressive and grab the ball or grab the friend, push them down and take what he wanted, I at that point knew that I had to give him other tools to communicate his wants and needs until his language started to come along a little bit more. So be aware that if your child cannot communicate their wants, their needs, if they're not talking, if they're not understanding, then there's a good chance that that may be why they're hitting. My son Shane has also shown aggressive behavior and hitting behaviors in really stressful and sort of anxious situations. And oftentimes those situations were not things that I recognize as being stressful or something that would make him anxious. But later on, I realized that he was probably feeling uneasy and stress in that situation. And he may have been feeling that way because of some sensory processing stuff, like maybe it was just too loud, maybe the lights were too bright, maybe there was a change of routine that he didn't like, and I assumed that he understood it, but he didn't. And that would cause him to act out, to hit, to throw things on the floor. And, at the time, I didn't recognize it. Maybe a teacher didn't recognize it, but he was feeling stressed, he was feeling anxious. So make sure to, check in with your child, ask them how they're feeling, try to mitigate any anxiety and stress in them before they enter the situation. Stress can definitely cause aggressive behaviors. I've also found with my son Shane that when he wants out of a situation and he wants to escape a situation, he will act out aggressively, and that can include hitting. For children with autism, again, they will have a hard time communicating oftentimes and not be able to tell you with their words that they're feeling stressed or they're feeling anxious, and they may want to leave the current situations. And at that point, they may hit or act out aggressively to let you know that they want to be out of the situation. Once you understand why your child is acting out aggressively, you can then take the steps to give them the tools to better manage their emotions in stressful situations. One of the things that I found most helpful to better understand why my son was acting out aggressively and how I can help him was to actually keep a log of what was happening with him before the aggressive behavior started, during the aggressive behavior, and immediately after. I would keep this log for roughly 2 weeks. Various times I've done it, and it just gave me an overview of what was happening before, during, and after the aggressive behavior, which allowed me to have a really good picture of how I could help him and what situations I can avoid, what tools I could implement so that he could better manage his emotions in those situations. Keeping a log is really important. I'll actually leave a link to the one that I use below for you, but it can literally just be a piece of paper where you scratch a few things down so that you understand what is happening with your child in these moments where they feel the need they need to hit. I know I mentioned this earlier, but I cannot stress it enough. Please evaluate with your child how well they're able to communicate with you. Oftentimes, your child will be able to tell you what they want, what they need, when they're in a comfortable, happy situation. But when they're not, they may be struggling to communicate their wants and needs. I realized very quickly that you absolutely will not be able to prevent every single outbursts or aggressive behavior for your child. That is completely normal and completely okay. But what you can do is manage the way you react in the situation. Try your best to stay calm and to keep your cool. Showing your child aggression and when they're feeling aggressive is not going to help at all. If you're able to, remove your child from the situation, even if it's just taking them into another room or taking them outside into the car until they calm down. That will allow them to have a more safe space where they can try to express their needs or try to use the tools that you've given them to calm themselves down. When your child is in a frenzy mode and they're feeling aggressive, try to use as little words as possible. Be very direct, gentle, and calm with them. Speak to them, but not in big sentences. Don't be overly emotional. What works for me and Shaney is I always remind him, let's make a good choice. Let's be a listener. When he's feeling aggressive, when he's feeling upset, I just say to him, let's be a listener. Come on, let's make a good choice. Very simple, short language, whatever works for you and your child, but don't overwhelm them with a lot of words because in this moment they're aggressive, they're angry, they're frustrated. They're probably not going to hear you and you don't want to overwhelm them further. In no way is this video meant to replace or substitute any sort of professional treatment your child may have. Psychologists and behavioral technicians have amazing skills and tools that they can give your child that will allow them to cope with their emotions and manage themselves better when out in the community. This video is simply what I have done and has worked with my son, but I've learned a lot of these skills through working with professionals. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope this video is helpful. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up, or better yet, share it with somebody that you think can benefit from it. I look forward to the next video.